morning, everyone. It's very good to have you here, which means you are not in the offices pestering us with your emails and asking us to deliver everything on time. So good to have you. It's my pleasure to be on this stage, especially after hearing even some tears on the obesity that you can see I have happily also have. So, we're here to talk about customer experience, and can we all please agree that customer experience indeed matters? Yes? Thank you. And it matters not only because we as customers want to be treated right and fairly, but because it means better financial performance. And there is actual proof for this. The proof is the HCSI, which is the American Customer Satisfaction Index, stock portfolio. I don't know if you know it, but in the US, they measure satisfaction across different variety of companies and industries. So what these guys do is they bet on the stock market to the companies that they have very high satisfaction scores, and they sell short the ones that have low satisfaction scores. And you can see in the light blue how successful they have been in the last 16 years in their returns, which is 5 times the average of S&P. So customer experience matters even in the pockets of everyone. So how do we do this? And what does it really mean? In reality, it's about the brand promise. So we as organizations, you as organizations, you create a promise, which basically means expectation. Right? The customer has an expectation. So it's very simple. We deliver the service or the product, 3 things can happen. Either we fell below the expectation of the customer, therefore we have unhappy customers, or what we say in NPS, detractors. We can meet the expectations, which is basically where the equation is equal, therefore customers are happy. There could be passives, what we call in NPS, or promoters. And of course, we have the opportunity to exceed expectation. And this is where we have the true promoters, really delighting customers. Just these 3 things. However, in a study that we did recently across many countries, we realized that there is a growing dissonance between the promise and the actual experience customers get. So only 14% of the experiences were actually exceeding customer expectations. Now, talking about customer expectations and service delivery, we did a study in UAE about the retail experience, and we found some quite interesting stories. First of all, we asked people if they had an exceptional service last month in shopping in Dubai. 40%, much higher than the average, because it's Dubai after all, said that they had an exceptional service experience. And out of them, 88% said, I bought again from the same retailer. About 20% had a very bad experience, which is relatively high. And out of them, still 64% bought again. So 2 things out of this slide. One is, yes, if you deliver an exceptional service, you have higher sales, 88 versus 64. Interestingly though, even when customers have a bad experience, they may still purchase. So sometimes it's okay to have customers who are not satisfied because of a phenomenon that we call customer inertia. People just don't leave. I'm the perfect example. I've been in Dubai since 2010. I have a specific bank that I will not name. I have been their customers for 9 years and I hate it. But I have never changed. I'm still there. They are not in this room, I hope. Now, we also ask the same people if they actually shared this experience, right? We've heard about social media, Instagram, we have friends. You had an exceptional experience. Did you share it with someone? 81% said yes. So, do you think that people who had a bad experience share it with more or less people? More? So you think with less? And that's what's the truth. This is very interesting. So people are more likely to share a positive experience, an unexpected positive experience, than a bad one, because our expectations are changing. We are possibly hooked on believing that we will not get a good service. So if a good service really happens, then we are really out and talking about it more than if we have a bad experience. Now, we also observe differences. I mean, this is a UAE study. We have so many different nationalities, and most of you have seen that we don't respond the same. This is like a natural experiment. We're all here. So we respond differently. So we ask them how satisfied they are. And you see nationality differences. So expat Arabs usually are the happiest. They give the highest satisfaction scores. We see it across industries, actually. Then you have Far East Asians, which is mostly Filipinos, and Indian subcontinents, which is India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So they are also relatively happy. The two groups that usually have higher expectations, hard to please, is Westerners and Emiratis. So this is their satisfaction scores. We also ask them about how likely are they to recommend the retailer. And here is a different story. So if we focus, let's say, to Filipinos and Indians, same level of satisfaction. When it comes to recommending, though, you see the huge difference. It's much more likely for a Filipino to recommend a brand than an Indian, although they may have the same level of satisfaction. Why? Because of culture. Filipinos enjoy fashion, enjoy shopping, they are more open as a society, they are to talk to each other, so they will recommend. By the way, when we compared men and women, who had the highest NPS score, men or women? Yes, because women like to talk more. Sorry for my apologies. The same for Westerners and Emiratis, same level of satisfaction. But because of the differences in the culture, we see that Westerners are usually more likely to recommend the brand than they are Emiratis. So these are things that we need to know when we design customer experience service programs. So what we have seen is that customer feedback is actually the most important thing. That's how you get it in order to improve your service. And it's very simple, very simple. You need to have a strong, profitable business. You need to know what the customers expect. You need to design the systems, train employees, deliver the services, which means now you need to know were the customers happy or not, what happened. So you need to ask customers. That is where you design the systems of the programs. And here is where things go wrong usually. Because there is not the right resources, we don't ask the right questions, the top management may not be involved. We have cases that people say, just tell me what's my score, I don't really care about what customers think. So we don't really do it right at this critical stage, which leads to actually receiving distorted customer feedback, not the truth, which leads to biased management action, failure of delivering what customers really want, low ROI, high churn, less money. So getting the right customer feedback matters. You all know this guy. He actually said, your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. But in his own company, I'm sure you have seen this on the internet, how likely are you to recommend Windows 10 to a friend of a colleague? This guy says not likely, because I need you to understand that people don't have conversations when they randomly recommend operating systems to another. So let's call Ben on the stage, that has also a funny last name as me, to tell you about how Common is doing it right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Odie. So Mustafa kindly gave Odie and I 10 minutes to speak this morning, and I have a timer in front of me that says I have 1 minute and 47 seconds of that 10 minutes. Odie likes to talk. I'm just going to build
There was a lot there, I didn't even see it.
I'm just going to build on what Odie was talking about in terms of how brands deliver on a brand promise and how that meets customers' expectations. We were very fortunate to have IKEA speak at our CX Council event in London recently, and they shared with us their positioning. And I admit, I'm a reluctant customer at IKEA. I get taken, I don't decide to go. But then when you read this and you start to see the experience you go through, it starts to make sense. And you also have to consider that there's a lot of things at IKEA that they reflect on and they admit are bad points. The parking, the fact that there's lots of people there, the fact that they make you go and take products off the shelf and then you have to assemble it yourself. But there's many, many good points. The product quality, the price. And what they do is manage to help overcome these negative expectations by delivering on good experiences. When you walk into IKEA, they have icons. The person greeting you sincerely, they hand you a yellow bag. It's no coincidence that the first part of the store you go into is home furnishings. It makes you feel calm, relaxed. Your experience immediately gets off to a great start. And this is really critical, overcoming negative experiences with good ones and then driving long-term relationships. Another example being Disney. Queues at Disney, for those that have been, very long. But people overcome that because they're willing to go through that immediate experience, that thrill and excitement of the ride. And Disney take it one step further by monitoring this experience through the bands that they give you when you enter the park. They monitor the queuing times of different rides and send their staff to proactively dissipate that negative experience, so that both IKEA and Disney, great examples of helping you overcome those negative experiences and delivering on their brand promise. And they're able to do this in part because they empower their employees to deliver that customer experience. They make sure that the organisation that they're working within is completely aligned in its objective of customer centricity. It's vital that organisations are customer centric, aligned across that organisation, from the C-suite to HR, through finance, to the front line. And the best organisations do this in the best way by giving individuals data, being able to give them the ability to gather feedback, and then change the way they behave. I'll give you an example, just a small anecdote of a well-known coffee company that has a very strong customer-centric culture, but in that case, the front line weren't delivering it sincerely. I walk into the coffee shop, I buy an orange juice, I walk outside, I sit down, and when I walked in to get that orange juice, everybody shouted, "Good morning, hello," and I walk back outside, I sit down, think, I haven't got my straw, I go back in, they all shout "Good morning, hello" at me again. They just haven't recognised me as an individual. So they're just going through the motions, and it's important that the organisation enables these people to understand that they're not delivering on that brand promise, they're not delivering on that customer experience if they're not getting feedback about making mistakes like this. The companies that I've spoken about so far are all also very successful in achieving a return on their customer experience investment. They all have the same objectives ultimately, and I believe that your organisations in this room will all have the same objectives as well through any customer experience work. You either want to increase the retention of your customers, you either want to increase the share of spend so the customers are choosing you more often, spending more money with you. You want to increase the advocacy, people are out there talking about you more, recommending you. Or you want to drive operational efficiency in your organisation, at the same time reducing costs. And this is what we call ROCXI, or return on your customer experience investment. But how does that actually work in practice? How's that linked to even to a research company and what we do? Well, what we've started to drive and deliver with a lot of our clients now is really targeting our analytics to help us quantify the impact, the dollar impact of a percentage point change in a satisfaction score or a recommendation score. So you can start to see what real, true business impact that's having across the organisation. In this example, I'm showing where we took the top 10% of this particular financial organisation's branches and the bottom 10%, and then we look at the linkage between overall satisfaction, gross margin, profit per transaction, market penetration, showing this direct linkages between NPS scores, customer satisfaction scores, and the financial performance of the business. And ultimately, what that tells our clients in these examples, we're coming out with our analytics that can show how important customer experience is within the organisation, whether it's increasing advocacy or whether it's reducing churn, just by changing customer experience metrics. And there's a lot of work that goes in behind that. So, if I ask you to take 4 things out from this presentation that Odie and I have given this morning, firstly, to engage your entire organisation in the customer experience process, the creation of the experience and the delivery of it. Listen to your customers, listen to the feedback, act upon it, and activate. Activate through analytics, activate through insights, and ultimately embed this in the organisation to drive that return on customer experience investment. Thank you.